The Reckoning is a 4-part series from the BBC, all episodes available on iPlayer, starring Steve Coogan as Jimmy Savile. It's going to garner a lot of polarised response. First thing I will say is that Steve Coogan is excellent as Jimmy Savile. So I think he does the job of portraying him with all his characteristics, because he was a known eccentric with very well-known characteristics and mannerisms, without it becoming a cartoon-like impression of him. He also gets across a sinister air very well, which obviously helped by editing and direction. But if you didn't have the right person in the role, we wouldn't be able to achieve that. Steve Coogan is excellent at doing that, and he really comes across well. The series is good. It's good entertainment. It feels somewhat voyeuristic or a little bit perverse, I suppose. That you just watch it and see these sort of sinister acts going on. But it's on. I watched it. I've seen the Netflix documentary, which I think, to be honest, gives a better rounded portrayal of what went on, because obviously you've got so much footage of this chap and all these talking heads. And the trouble with this BBC one is it's well acted. It's got good standards, lots of locations, good actors in it. But you do feel like the fear, and I don't mean the fear of Jimmy Savile either. I mean the fear that they know he wasn't convicted of anything, right? And they know that if they dare try and give any weight to arguments to say, he wasn't actually convicted, sort of, if you looked at it with a total top-down blank slate rational view, even though there is an overwhelming weight of evidence, I know that, but if they were trying to look at it with a level of journalistic balance, then, as you might get taught at university if you were reviewing this, then they would be hung out to dry by loads of people just screaming them down and saying, you're supporting this animal, this monster. And so they have a screen at the start, a screen at the end, saying, caveating it and bookending it. On some of the episodes, they have pictures of the three or four victims who have come forward and willing to talk about it. But it takes away from it, I think. If they kept it, and also they have that sort of get out of jail free card you have with these dramatized biography like shows, where they go, some events have been created for dramatic effect, and that sort of ruins a large element of it for me. And when I've been talking to it with friends and family, they said the same thing. There's a scene in the last episode where he's left alone with a dead body, and nobody sees what he does in this room with his dead body, but they show you that he had his hand under this sheet and was obviously fiddling with it, and that now he's a necrophile. But no one knows what he did in that room. That is total speculation. There is no eyewitness, and that almost cheapens it. And you go, oh, come on, guys, you've got enough evidence, enough information to say what actually happened, or what people will say will happen, rather than putting in speculative scenes. There's also a scene where his mother goes to confession and says things like, my son's got a darkness in him, he's evil, he's got the blackness in him, I'm scared. And you go, no one knows that she did or said that, as far as I'm aware anyway. And maybe in a book you might say, well, his mother actually confessed it to me that she said that. If that's the case, then fine, I'm wrong. But that scene doesn't need to be in there if it is not supported by anything. If she was down in the bingo hall and she mentioned it to her mate, she went, oh, Pat, I think Jim is a bit funny. I think that he might be, might have some mental problems, or he might be a bit funny. Put that scene in there. I guess it's not as cool and not as dramatic as having her confess to a priest, but it's more factual and it's more realistic. And that kind of took me out of it, and that made me think, this is so sort of slanted now. Not that you don't believe he did these things, but the fact that they are almost trying to weigh the scales so much it becomes biased, whereas it ceases being factual, or based on witness accounts, let's say. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into it too much. Like I say, not trying to say he didn't do any of these things at all. Don't get me wrong. It's just, if you're going to make the show, just make it. You don't need to fabricate these scenes to try and tip the scales in the favour of your viewpoint. You've either got the information or you haven't, or you produce something that goes, look, if you're looking on, 70, whatever percentage of evidence there is for and against him, then do it like that. Put it all in. Your show will still have the 70-30 balance, or whatever the amount of evidence you've got for one and the other is, and you'll be all right. Your view will come across. If you're confident in your information and how you're making this product, then it's fine. But the fabricated scenes kind of ticked me off a little bit, because it cheapens the message, I think. Whereas the documentaries, they don't create these fabricated scenes. You've got witness accounts, you've got video footage, you've got people saying what they recall, and that's enough. You get the idea that there's enough. It's not even that there's smoke, there's flames and there's fire. You don't need to put these extra bits in. Again, I haven't read the book that it was based on. Maybe there are references and interviews that could be referenced to support that. But yeah, that was my only problem with it. Otherwise, it's a good, entertaining watch. So it feels a bit sort of perverse, bearing in mind we know everything that's gone on and there's been plenty of talk about it already. But if you want something else to see, and you want to see some good acting, then this is worth giving a look. So I wouldn't swerve it. Give it a view. Just take some of the scenes with a pinch of salt, which I think any reasonable person can do. Let me know what you think. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to turn the comments off on this video. Anyway, thanks for watching.